Coming to work on a Sunday. Hard hats, lunch pails, steel toe boots. I honestly thought the Celtics worked hard for this win tonight. Credit to the Hawks; they kept fighting back, but man, the Celtics kept answering. So this was a
Yeah.
big. This was a big Boston sports day. Like this day was built for sitting on the couch and watching Boston
Wasn't it?
sports teams. Like it was raining out.
Yeah.
They had playoff games, so the
Yeah.
Bruins took care of business, and the Celtics take care of business
The
with a
weather
big win.
obliged us too, because what else
Yeah,
are you gonna
the
do?
weather was like the weather
My,
begged you to stay in.
my freaking daughter played a soccer game in pouring rain
Oh,
today. It's
that
ridiculous.
should have been canceled.
Cancel that stuff. But yeah. So I mean, the Celtics 3-0 when Jimmy Toscano does the post game show. That's
Yeah,
kind of how.
I don't
It's
think
kind
I
of
can
how
miss
I
any
view
more
it.
games. One twenty
Yeah.
nine to 121. I mean, this is a action packed, high scoring game here.
Yeah. It's been fun. Uh, it's been fun. Like it's a fun series because Atlanta has some offense. They don't play a lot of defense, which means there's a lot of offense coming in the other side.
It's been more
Um,
competitive than I think some people on this panel
Whatever.
gave the Hawks credit for. I
You,
did predict a gentleman's sweep, which is looking very accurate so far.
yeah, yeah. So I think first and foremost, we'll get into a lot of things. We've got literally everyone in Atlanta: Sherrod, Bobby, Josue, and Amit down there.
Wow, Ahmed got the call, huh?
Amit went down to Atlanta too. So we're down there en masse, full force. So
Boots on the pavement.
those guys are gonna jump in a little bit. Second, I think people don't understand. I don't think a gentleman's sweep is what you think it is.
Yeah, it is. It's a 5 game series.
No, it's when you win the first three and you let them have one.
Oh, right. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. But
So everyone's
gentleman's
think
sweep is kind of this. Okay,
this
so they
wasn't.
reversed it.
Yeah, it's not a reverse. When the team wins their first home game, it's a series. There's
Right.
nothing gentlemanly about that. You didn't give them that third game,
Right.
so
But if
they
they
made
win the series 4-1, it's close
they
to.
threatened to make a legit series out of this game
They did.
after winning that third game. So kudos to Atlanta for doing it. For for
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
keeping it close, but some big boy performances from a lot of Celtics tonight.
right.
And if you're handing out 3 stars tonight, I think you're going with Marcus Smart, Rob Williams, and Jaylen Brown, undoubtedly number 1 star of the game.
Yeah.
Derek White looked like he was carrying everything early. He cooled considerably. Marcus was awesome. And
Marcus
um
Smart was awesome.
and then Jaylen Brown, I've never seen anything like that. It was like, you know, rip off the
Yeah.
mask,
Mask
take off
off.
the bandage. I mean, you've seen that stuff before. People have done that. A lot of people get frustrated with that kind of thing. But the funny thing about Brown is, like, actually his mask splits in the regular season were ridiculous in the other direction. When he put the mask on, he got superpowers. So whether it was I think he's fed up about everything. I think he was fed up about thinking about stuff. And he's
I think
like,
so too.
I'm done with this. Off, and
Yep.
everything changed in a very noticeable way. And he was amazing down the stretch. I mean, I tweeted it. Just some of his final possessions: drive and dump off to Rob, locks down Murray, and gets a steal, hits a game clinching three, and
Corner
then has that
three. Yep.
two-handed exclamation point, slam just for the F of it. Rips his hand back open when that happens. Blood's
Yeah.
gushing down his arm. I mean, that thing's annoying him. I mean, that's it keeps keep
It almost
it's
feels like he forgets it. Like when he throws those dunks down, it's like, dude, you probably
yeah,
shouldn't do that. But
yeah.
he was
So
awesome
we'll
tonight. Yeah, he was great.
we'll get into all of that. We'll get into a lot of double big. Joe clearly got tired of getting pushed around. It made a big difference, especially in the first half on the boards. Atlanta was able to get a little bit feistier in the second half, but he went double big as much as he could, and he really wanted Rob and Al out there together. And he went with it. Quick promo mention for you
Quick
guys.
promo.
FanDuel running out of time to take care of this deal. So go get some if you're interested. FanDuel.com/Boston, 200 in bonus bets when you
Yep.
make your first $5 wager.
You
I don't
could
know,
have
Jimmy.
parlayed Celtics, Bruins, and Red Sox today. You would have made a nice, pretty penny.
A Boston
Yeah,
parlay.
kid. I always bet that, and I bet the house on
I
them.
bet it every night.
Yeah.
Every night I bet the Boston parlay. Yeah. So yeah, so what we could go in a lot of different directions. I think Jalen's the obvious one, but what else kind of tickled your fancy here tonight?
Rob, I loved
Yeah.
Rob today. I mean, he was just extending plays. He allowed for some of those Jalen plays that you mentioned to happen.
Yep.
I just loved how active he was out there. I don't know. I didn't get to see a whole lot of Game 3, so I don't know.
He wasn't
Um,
the same guy.
right.
Not nearly as active. Didn't play a lot of minutes. Didn't do much at all, and they got
Hmm.
destroyed on the glass. I mean, they had
Right.
29 rebounds the whole game. They have 49 in this game.
Yeah.
So,
So it
so
felt like that was a real focus,
yeah.
bounce back for him. So I really liked what I saw out of him. So he stood out to me. I mean, you already mentioned Jalen Brown. I think he needed a bit of a recovery game too. And we always get ragged on for not talking about Jalen Brown enough, but I mean, this is just one of those games where you can't not talk about him because he, I thought on a night where Tatum was kind of quiet. He had that dunk towards. Tatum had a couple big threes and that dunk, but otherwise I thought it was kind of quiet. 31 for him compared to
It
Brown,
was
who
a
had,
weird
who
night
had 31.
offensively.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just thought Brown's scoring and I would say effort was a lot more timely and it was just more noticeable, especially down the stretch in that second half. And again, the Hawks they kept coming back. They kept it close, whether it was Young or Murray. Murray's smooth, man. He's just kind of pretty dribbling out there, but he had a bad turnover in the paint late there. And again, I think some of that had to do with Marcus Smart's defense tonight was solid too. So there was a lot to like. I mean, but the most important thing is getting that 3-1 series lead because
Yep. Wrap it up.
Phillies took care of business and they're gonna have all the rest in the world now. So
Plus, you
you're
wanna wrap this up in 5 and get that series
right.
started early because the earlier you start it, the less Embiid you're gonna have uh,
Exactly.
as well. So you really did not want to drag this too late. You want to get into those guys as quickly as you can, and the earlier you wrap this up, the earlier you'll play Game 1. You really want to play it next weekend,
Hmm.
or as early as possible. So that's on the table, obviously here with this win. If they can wrap things up, it's Tuesday night at the Garden. Um,
Nice.
and that should hopefully take care of everything. Uh, but yeah, I mean, again, I, I'm not gonna say impressed by Atlanta, but like impressed that they fought. Like
Exactly.
they are who we thought they were. They can score and they've shown it, and um, they really don't play much defense.
Right.
That's fine. But yeah, I mean, this could have gone the wrong way. This could have gone the wrong way. They got clutch. As you said, Rob and his activity and keeping balls alive. It was a weird game, right? Because it was 6, 7, 8 forever.
Hmm. I
Like
know. It just kept
forever.
going
And
back and
it's
forth
like
like that.
if the Celtics just hit a couple shots to get it up to 13 and they can start to like flex
Yep.
a little, or like if Atlanta hits a couple, it's a 3, 4 point game, and here we go. Just didn't happen. Hold on, we
No,
got
I
to
mean
up.
they
Yeah.
couple three
Oh,
pointers.
we were
What?
talking about it. If the Celtics win Tuesday, and this is what we're talking about, NBA just announced if the Celtics win Tuesday, it will be a Saturday game, and that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
Saturday would be game 1, and then May 1st would be game 2. Like Bobby expects me to know what day May 1st is. He just sent me the schedule.
May 1st is a Monday, maybe?
Yeah, so Saturday, Monday, you'd get into that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. It's
Right.
good.
Yeah, 30 days in September. The 30th is Sunday, would be Monday. So Saturday, Monday. You might get 2 non-Embiid
30
games
days in
there
September. We're in
in
April. We're in April, bud.
April. I'm going through that 30 days. It has September,
Oh,
April, June, and
April, June,
November.
and
Yeah,
November. All the rest of
all the rest of
31,
31
except
except
for
February.
February. And then it kind of
uh,
how does it end when they say except February? It's kind of a weird ending to that little
it's a
rhyme.
stu- it's a du- it's not even a rhyme.
It's
It's
not a
just
rhyme.
like it's
It's a
just
saying,
facts. Yeah, it's just what it is.
right? No, it's a gentleman's rhyme.
Yeah. And if the Celtics, if the series went 6 or 7, if it goes 6 or 7, they'd open Monday, May 1st. So you do want to get those games down for sure if you can, and try to get try to get to Philly, try to get to Philly right away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
get some, dog.
Schedule talk.
Yeah, well, we were looking ahead
Don't
before
look
this.
too far ahead, John. Easy. The Hawks can win. The Hawks can win one, and
For what it's worth,
Boston.
those two home games weren't really competitive.
No, they weren't. They weren't. But
So
Trey Young can just shoot the hell out of the ball. So I mean, he's gonna take 40 shots and
he's fine. But I mean, crap. Like he did what he did, but he had a couple big buckets late. But then you look at the final line, and what did he
yeah,
shoot? Like 35% from the floor. I mean, it couldn't have been
yeah.
that great.
I mean,
It was
they do miss a lot.
6 for 18 at one point, 11 for 26. He finishes up. Like he got 35. He got to the line. We're talking about
Can't
Tatum.
defend.
Tatum had a weird game. Yeah, he can't do anything else. But Tatum had a weird game. But I mean, again, when your bad games are 31 points, that's pretty good. The thing he did different tonight, he got to the line. I know he got to the line 9 times last time. Didn't really feel like it.
Hmm.
And then the first 2 games it was 0 and 2. So he made it a point of emphasis. He definitely, I think he felt like he hadn't really been getting calls.
Right.
Um,
Well, they gave him that
3
flagrant. Or,
3 blocks.
yeah.
That was pretty impressive. They I think Capella must have gotten blocked like 9 times tonight.
It felt like it, right?
I think every one of Tatum and Rob's blocks were on Capella tonight.
Yeah, they were. I loved like the second, third effort from some of the Celtics guys, like blocking shots, even like just the effort alone, just going up and getting the ball. So I mean, this was definitely a game where you knew that they knew how important this one
Yeah.
was. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
people are starting to flood in. We like this. Come on, let's get going, guys. I mean, the crowds have been a little
Nice.
sleepy after a loss. I was really disappointed on this crowd. I know people don't want to hear it and rehash it, and I guess
On what crowd? Talking about our crowd?
the loss after a game, the what day did they play?
Friday.
Friday, brutal.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to talk about it.
No.
Nobody.
It looked pretty bad.
But also, we were like 30 minutes late, so that didn't help.
Yeah, I heard about that. Didn't want to say anything, but I did hear about that.
I'm sure that didn't help.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, we'll go back to the lead. Like, what? Like, I don't,
What?
I'm not gonna
Say
get
it.
it. No, it's just how like when we say somebody did really good, like with Jalen,
Yeah.
like everyone can acknowledge he looked different tonight, right?
Yeah,
Like a different person,
I would agree.
right? So therefore, prior to tonight, what did he look like?
Crap.
Not the same.
Yeah.
It was really extracting. It was pulling teeth to get people to acknowledge, like, Jalen hasn't been right for a couple of games. Then when you see him get right and you're like, click, oh, I remember.
It's like the Derek White stuff.
Remember when he just blows by you and like he just runs by people and scores and hits
Right.
layups all the time? Like that's what he does. Like he didn't do that for
Who
a
did
few
he
games.
body? Like Collins, I think he just pushed him out of the
Oh,
way and
he
just
did
went up
all
for
of that
the.
stuff. He used his strength. He went strong left and right.
Yep.
Played through contact. All of that stuff. He didn't do any of that in the games prior. So I don't know what I mean. Again, how much of that we thought a lot of that was in his head. It
Hmm.
was definitely in his head. Whatever was going on there. Plus, I mean, having that shit all over you sucks. So I mean, getting rid of it is probably great. He
But he
must have felt
clearly
that.
didn't need the mask anymore. If he can just take it off, it's not like I
I
mean I
think there's a
imagine
risk.
doctors wouldn't have allowed him to
There's
do
a
that.
risk there. You get hit again, it probably hurts like hell. I don't know if you
Yeah,
can like
I guess.
re-break your face or what the risk is there, but it's probably precautionary because you're still
Yeah.
tender and it's still healing.
Uh-huh.
So you really don't want to take another hard shot. But he's like, screw it, And again, you've seen guys take the masks off before. The hand
Hmm.
thing is definitely, was definitely part of it too. But he's like, screw it, this thing's got to go to. Couldn't feel the ball. He couldn't get any feel
Right.
for with. He's like, whatever oven mitt he's wearing on his hand. So gone. Totally different. I mean, like night and day. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. I thought he looked like the Jalen Brown that we saw towards the end of the regular season when
Here's
he
the
was just
splits:
dominating.
2 points, 1 of 7, 29, 11 of 15. I mean,
Damn.
it's ridiculous.
It's crazy. I mean, we'll never see that mask again, I guess.
Never.
Get a good look at it because it's gone.
It's gone.
No, he looked great. I mean, and honestly, they needed it because I just don't think Tatum had that fire that you kind of wanted to see out of him tonight. So Jaylen Brown took control, and we already mentioned Marcus, and I thought Derek Whitehead did have a really good game, and so did Brogdon. I mean, all the guards really showed up tonight. Brogdon had, he had such a Brogdon game where he just kind of did all the little things. Had a couple of jump shots, good shooting, and again, like it felt like the Celtics always had an answer for the Hawks' response. It
Yeah.
was like you said, it was constantly in that 6 to 9 point or 6 to 10 point range or whatever, and Celtics would get it to 12, and then the Hawks would get it to 9, and then it would go to 7, then it would go to 10, and it just felt like even though the Celtics weren't pulling away, it felt like they were still in control, and I think a lot had to do with the guard play. So it was good. It's good
They
stuff.
were good. You're going to nitpick something. I mean, I can't get a handle on Tatum. I want to hear from those guys too. He's looked a little sleepy and passive. I can't quite figure out. See, he's kind of a little bit out of rhythm. But to his credit, early season Tatum, when he struggled shooting or when he was having some tough time offensively, he was doing other things to impact the game. He
Right.
did some of those other things tonight, which was good. There's
7 rebounds,
definitely,
4
if
assists.
you're gonna really nitpick something, there's definitely a who's the eighth guy problem right now. We've seen the
There wasn't one tonight.
there's not really one at all. The playoffs move really fast for Sam Hauser, it looks like, and he has not been able to do much.
I thought he was honestly though. I thought he was fine. Like the first time he went in, I didn't see any big issues there. Maybe I missed
Not
something, but
horrible, but again, the trust issue there. I think you're just. I think the fear in any game that's close is like a 10-2 run before you can do anything about it, because he's just
Right.
going to give up too much defensively.
I mean, he hit a 3, took 2
Hit a
shots,
3.
hit one of them. I mean, whatever. That's kind of probably what you're gonna get. But yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing, John. I always went back to like you guys always used to talk about like depth and stuff, and I was like, well, they have 2 really, 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 really good guys off the bench, and that's kind of it.
They have 7 starters. We
Right.
did debate the 8th player, who it's going to be.
Whether it's gonna be Grant or Hauser.
What a
or
weird
whatever.
game too. Like Hauser gets 10, Muscala and Grant each get 1.
Yeah.
That's it.
Grant got like 30 seconds, I think.
That's rough.
Yeah, and after Grant had a solid, I didn't really see much of game 3, but I saw the box score and I saw the highlights, and I saw Grant hit 4 threes. So I guess that really was just because White got into foul trouble. I guess he's really not really part of the game plan for this series. Because if anything, you would say he would have earned some minutes after that game, but he didn't.
Yeah.
But Brown played 42 minutes. Tatum had upper 30s.
Jimmy, have I been speechless about Jaylen Brown, or have I been talking about him for 50% of the show?
I would say you've been talking about him.
Okay. Yeah. Look, I'm attacking him. Guys, learn to take compliments, okay? Learn when people say
Yeah.
nice things, okay? We're saying
just
nice things.
Accept it.
We're saying
don't
nice
don't
things.
don't get pushy with it.
Come on. I want to
You
fight.
give him an inch.
We're saying nice things.
Yeah.
He took over when Tatum didn't.
Yeah.
That back and forth, and again, Tatum will get some credit because he did get a couple points late, including that 3, which, by the way,
3 was huge.
Was a backcourt on Boston, right?
I thought so. What was that all about?
Never saw a replay. Who did Smart dribble off? He dribbled off his own foot.
I thought it was his own foot too, but I thought they said that the defender, I found it was it Murray, maybe got
I
a
think
hand
they
on
just
it or
froze. I think they froze. I think they thought if he dribbled off his foot, it counted as inadvertent or something, and it didn't matter. Maybe they thought it was like a loose ball-ish sort of thing, and
Yeah.
they just froze. And before they had a chance to realize what happened, Tatum hit a friggin' 40-footer that
Yeah.
sealed the game.
Yeah.
But that was probably a backcourt. But Tatum wasn't hitting shots down the stretch that you needed to put him away when you're at 6 and 8 points, and then Brown made literally every play instead of him. And shit that you don't see Brown do.
A couple nice passes by Brown. The dump
drive
offs
and
to
dish to
Rob.
Rob. I thought I rewound. I thought I
Yeah.
was behind. I thought I was back, and I was like, the same
Just did it again.
same play twice.
He went to
Yeah.
Rob. They actually looked for Rob.
Yeah.
13
It was
points,
great.
15 rebounds for Rob. Rob had a great game. I loved the boards.
And the 29 minutes, and Joe wanted to use him. You didn't see it. We were making fun of the halftime interview.
Yeah, I missed
with Greenberg. It was like he's asking him a question, and Joe's looking at him like this, and they're up 12. He's like, rebounding. Yeah, we're good. And it's just like, but he was asked like the double big what he wants to do there, and he was like rebounds, and that was
Yeah.
it. He's like, okay, thanks, coach.
And back to you guys.
They were like, Joe, man, a few words,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I mean, there was a purpose behind that, the double big, and I want to look up the exact minutes there, but they went to it a bit, and they wanted to, and even when Rob got his fourth foul in the third quarter, he let him finish that quarter, and he started the fourth, and then got a fifth foul early, which I thought was a little bit, dicey, but
There he is.
it paid out. He came out there, came back in, and then closed the game. You don't see Rob Williams closing games.
The closer.
No.
What's up,
No,
Sherrod?
that's something we always, they haven't been doing, and they stayed with it. They wanted it. They didn't want the cheapies. They didn't want the second chances. They wanted to make sure that they had a little bit of rim protection and not give away any bunnies. So Rob, with a man's effort tonight.
Yeah, this was great to see from Rob. But the one person that I don't want to spend a ton of time talking about, but I think we need to acknowledge the job that he did was freaking Joe Mazzulla. This might have been the best coach game that he has had as a Celtics. When you think about the way he used his timeouts, he didn't wait till teams to the Hawks went on an 8-10, 12-0 run. He nipped that in the bud way sooner than he normally does. And his use of Rob, I thought this was the perfect game to use Rob the way he did. I thought his management of the game tonight was as good as we've seen him do in his entire run as a Celtics head coach. But to kind of piggyback off what you guys are talking about, Rob, this was the Rob Williams that we've been wanting to see. Down the stretch, when the defense is just scattered, looking for someone to tag it and match up with, Rob was the guy that was always open. When Jalen would penetrate, there's Rob for the layup. When Tatum would penetrate, there's Rob for the layup. And they went to that in a way that we haven't seen him do before, in large part because Rob's ass down the stretch he's doing the same thing that we're doing, watching the game. So this was a great game, I thought, for the Celtics. Not in terms of just how they played overall, but just the mental part of the game, I thought, was at a level that we haven't seen before from them in this particular series.
My favorite Joe Mazzulla timeout was I texted the group about this when every once in a while Al gets the ball and decides he's going to run the break, and it's always scary as hell, and it's probably 50% of the time results in something bad happening. And Joe was like, nope, hate it, don't like it, timeout. Right. On a critical offensive possession there. And I love that because that's sometimes like, I don't like what's happening right now, so I'm going to stop it rather than let you work stuff out. I thought that was great. And again, the only thing I might have nitpicked, I thought he was playing with fire, leaving Rob in to start the fourth quarter there with the extra foul. And when he picked one up early, I was like, that's going to mess up what you wanted to do. Because my guess is, you wanted another 5-6 minutes out of him. And now when you're going to bring him back, he's going to be, he's not going to be able to be himself because he doesn't have that leeway.
But the one thing I will say, I would agree with you, John, except the Hawks, they just didn't seem interested in going at the matchups that would have helped them. Going at Rob didn't make sense to them for some reason, which to me, it makes total sense. They couldn't get the matchup that could take advantage of that because often Rob was matched up with John Collins, who was absolutely putrid tonight. 5 points, 1 for 9 shooting. I mean, this
got blocked too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this was absolutely John. I mean, if you had the John Collins lowlights, this is the video.
It's been a horrible series for him, Sherrod.
Yeah. And so
again, I forget he exists all the time.
Right.
Like I just
forget, so do the Hawks.
I forget that he plays for them.
Yeah. I mean, and aside from the fact that he's got just one of the most common names on the planet, he was an absolute non-factor. And again, I think that had a lot to do with why I think Joe may have felt a little bit more confident because if John Collins was looking for his offense in that particular stretch to go at Rob, you're okay with that if you're Joe Mazzulla. In fact, that's exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, let it go. Let him have it. And you talked about.
I'm just glad that he's calling timeouts now. I'm glad that he's over that phase of his life.
Well, but Jim, I think he's made that transition from never calling timeouts to calling them when he really shouldn't to now calling them when it makes sense.
Right, crazy, right? What a theory.
Yeah. And just the rotation with just finding Rob, making Rob part of the offense and not just on the lob. I think. Because if you're Philadelphia and you're scouting this Celtics team, you've got a couple more things you got to think about. in that series, because when you think about the Celtics, you think about Al has the ability to stretch the floor, and then Rob is just Mr. Cleanup, and he'll catch lobs. But if they're dribble driving and they're just dumping it off the Rob for layups, that changes the way Embiid has to defend that paint now. He can't just immediately think that if Tatum drives, immediately help out on Tatum because he's going to look to shoot or he's going to kick it out. He's actually looking to dump it off the Rob, who's oftentimes wide open around the rim, and now is looking to score.
Those are Game 3 problems for Philly. Especially if you start that series on Saturday.
Yeah,
could be no Embiid to start.
Which I'm hearing Saturday is that's I don't know if they've made that official yet.
So what they said is the NBA has announced that if the Celtics win in 5, Saturday is Game 1. If it goes 6 or 7, Monday is Game 1.
Yeah.
So again, earlier you get that series going, the more likely that you will start that series off without having to face Embiid. And
you guys really think Embiid won't play?
Come on. I think he will play. I don't think there's any way he won't be out there. I think he will absolutely find a way to play.
I agree. You know how it is in the NBA. They like to act like they're hockey players.
But the thing about Embiid though, Jimmy, is that you have to be, if you're the Celtics, cautiously realistic that he may not play just because of his long and storied history of health issues. I think if it were, let's say, Tatum or someone like that who had maybe missed the game for the playoffs with a little knee issue, you wouldn't think anything of it. You anticipate they'll play. But with Embiid, because of his long history of just having just lots of injuries, you don't know if he's going to be available by Saturday.
And if he is, he might not be as effective regardless, which would be, right. I mean, without them, I mean, it's a superstar league anyways, but without Embiid, I mean, they're a trash team.
Well, look, I mean, listen, you go back and look at the game, at Game 4 where they played Brooklyn. And I watched that game in its entirety. And Brooklyn may be one of them. They play hard, but the basketball IQ of some of their core players is sad. I mean, there were so many opportunities in that game for them to just make the basic basketball play, and they didn't.
Choked it away. Yeah,
they absolutely. I mean, that was a sweep, but at least the 2 games in Brooklyn, they should have won at least one of them, and probably both.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, no doubt. So, I mean, we're going to end up inevitably looking ahead. There's still one game to go, but, this is kind of where we've been leaning with a lot of this, looking really, the playoffs really begin here, for all teams in round 2, because you're going to have some interesting matchups.
There's some great series going on right now, though.
Yeah, second round is going to be awesome.
So there's some fun stuff already. One thing we do want to tell you about, again, just take a quick pause. Obviously we know basketball playoffs are underway, NHL as well. So there's a ton of stuff going on. But also, for those of you out there, you may or may not know that FanDuel is the official partner of Major League Baseball. And of course, baseball's underway. The Red Sox winning a little.
How about that?
It was a triple play parlay today for the Boston teams. Sox
I put
winning.
$15 down on the Sox, Celtics, and Bruins, kid.
Yeah, Yoshida 2 homers in 1 inning today. But anyway, as we said, official partners of Major League Baseball, also the exclusive wagering partner of CLNS Media. So head over to FanDuel, sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston. Running out of time here. I'd say this might be your last week to cash in on this bonus.
Really? Wow.
Industry insiders are telling me this could be it, guys. You could be running out of time.
Wow.
FanDuel.com/Boston. You go in there, you deposit 10, bet 5, and you get 200 in bonus bets that you can just play around with. And those are actually super fun to use on kind of high risk, high risk, high reward. You're not risking anything. Totally. You're risking bonus bets. That's where you have fun and throw down on some.
You can make some serious money.
Some 10-way parlay and see if you can friggin' cash out. So go check that out. FanDuel.com/Boston. Sign up now. App is super easy to use. So check it out if you can. Once again, there it is. You see it big, bright, and bold. FanDuel.com/Boston. Sign up now. There's one of those. What do they call those things? QR codes.
Oh, QR code.
You guys can hit that right there. That's gonna.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna light.
Toss the phone up to it.
That's gonna light it up for you right there.
Let me give this a shot.
It works.
It worked.
Yep.
Whoa.
Go ahead, everybody. Try it.
Easy.
All of you. I'll wait.
I'm doing it right
I'll wait.
now. We'll wait, guys. Guys, help us help you.
1,400 of you out there. Let's go. Let's get a few clicks.
Yeah, come on, do it.
Do it.
It's actually kind of magic.
Do it.
You know what I did? I signed up and everything, and I took the bonus and I put it on bet it on a future, like Celtics to win the championship or Bruins to win the Stanley Cup. Like the odds are, you get a little bit better odds.
Yep.
Then.
That is good.
And if you lose, you lose. You don't even lose any money. It's just bonus bucks.
Sherrod, I know you always like to get a chance to talk about your guy Marcus. No, but I mean, you talk about it's the stuff people don't want to hear. When during the year we're like, guy doesn't look right, and he didn't look right, and everyone's like, shut up, you're making up stuff. And then Marcus is like, yeah, I really wasn't myself for a while. And now he's a little more like himself. And that ankle, I mean, he started the season with it, and he's just, I mean, when was the last time he dunked twice in a game?
Probably at Oklahoma State.
Seriously.
That first dunk was nice.
And the thing that I liked about, I think it was the first one. No, it was the second one. He was angry.
Yeah.
He was angry because he wasn't getting some of the calls that he thought he should deserve. He thought he earned, and he just saw the C part. And John Collins is looking like, oh, I should probably step over and do something about that. And this was one of those Marcus Smart, bottle it up, knowing that you're probably not going to get another game like this in this series, and maybe not even in playoffs. I thought offensively he was aggressive and smart aggressive. No pun intended, with how he was attacking, recognizing when the opportunity was there, looking to post up a couple times where they didn't get him the ball, but he was thinking about that and trying to make that happen and getting the ball to where it needed to be.
But getting to the basket, that stuff that, he's been great.
Right.
This was a real high basketball IQ game for Marcus Smart. And to think that we weren't even sure if he was going to play. I was pretty confident he'd play, but he did not. When we talked to him on Saturday, he did not move and talk as though, yeah, I'm definitely going to be out there. It was kind of like, I'm still dealing with some pain.
I would have bet my entire FanDuel bonus bet on Marcus playing tonight. I don't care what odds you gave me. That seemed like
one thing you'll say about Marcus is that
he's a gamer.
He plays through pain for sure.
I did not think there's any chance he was missing this one. But you're right. The smart and the high IQ thing is an interesting way to put it, Sherrod, because it's like, it's not just like I'm just going to force the issue and go into traffic or try to make something happen. Even when he was going to the basket, he had a clear lane. He would up fake. He'd try to get people leaning. He would use his body to his advantage. His shots weren't wild and off balance. Like, it was really just clever stuff, the way he was attacking. He was, attacking matches and mismatches. But, I mean, just like able to get to the cup the way that he was really, really impressive, and just his all-around game. I think he's clearly stepped it up a couple of notches, both defensively and offensively, since the playoffs began.
He's moving better, and which
he's so much better.
I think for the most part, I think, and I don't think I was alone in thinking that maybe he lost a step. And when you look at the way he has played throughout his career, all the tumbles that he takes on the ground and all that, it's understandable if he had maybe lost a step or two, this season. But I mean, looking at him in this series, he looks like a healthy Marcus Smart who's able to move better. His lateral quickness is pretty much where we expect it to be. And overall, he is a difference maker for this team. Now, again, I don't know if his decision-making is going to be as on point going forward as it was in game 4 tonight, but this is the Marcus Smart they need. This is that guy that they absolutely got to have if they're going to have any realistic shot of winning a championship this year.
Yep.
I just saw a video. I guess Bobby sent this tweet to us, but DeJounte Murray bumped the referee at the end of the game, deliberately.
Oh.
Kind of got in his face. So I don't wonder what's going to happen.
Probably
with that.
Nothing. I mean, if you don't hit someone in the groin, they're not going to call anything.
No.
That's the only way you're going to get the ref's attention these days. It seems you got to hit someone in the groin.
Yeah.
Well, he did it to a referee.
So
that's what I'm saying.
So
the NBA might step in this case.
Yeah.
So they don't care.
We've got here's an update. I'm looking at a video here from that Tim, our producer, just put in the chat. Walks up to the ref. Let me look at it here. Yeah. Not great. So the bump was like this, to describe it.
Or you can, guys, why don't you just toss it
Listen,
in
Grant
the
Grant
chat?
Williams
John?
got tossed for
walked
less
up.
than that.
If the face is here, he comes in, just boom, and that's not great.
Grant Williams got
Let's
tossed
see if
for
this
less
works.
than
Ready?
that. If the league doesn't look at that and come up with something, I mean,
I think the league is screwed. The league screwed itself by doing dumb shit.
The Draymond thing has totally screwed everything they
this
do.
one's an automatic. Good soundbite here. Here's Joe Mazzulla talking about Jaylen Brown and the mask situation and what happened
Mask
there.
off.
Here's Joe.
Joe and Jaylen ditched the mask midway through the game. What did you see change for him after that?
That's Bobby.
Did you plan managing that a little bit?
I saw his face. And then after that, I saw just his poise, and I thought he did a great job making plays at the rim, operating in space, playing off 2 feet, making the right play. To me, he showed just tremendous poise, especially on the offensive end, and he had the ball in his hands, making plays for himself and others.
All right, first off, Joe, cool it on Bobby, okay, Mister.
That was like a
enough.
dad joke.
I saw his face. I get it. I get it.
Yeah. Hardy har har.
It's an easy one. Low hanging, okay, Joe? Take it easy. Okay? Take it easy.
Good question, Bobby. We at least know Bobby's doing his job over there, John.
Yeah, he's doing his job.
Joe, can't you just enjoy the just marinate in your success, Joe Mazzulla?
Just be happy.
You had a great game. You coached.
Right.
Bobby's just doing his job. You
Just
did
doing
your
his
job.
job.
Let's can't we just get along?
I don't know
Coach?
who. Yeah, I don't know who asked this question. We'll throw up one more Joe bite. Here's Joe talking about Rob. Okay.
This better be good.
Huh? We'll see. Let me see if I can find it. Joe talking about. Here's Joe on Rob. Where is he?
Talk
about it. Here you go.
Rob tonight, how close?
It's Bobby!
To that Rob you saw last year? And again,
Wow, he's still going.
the impact
Get him, Bobby.
defensive class particularly.
Yeah, close. He just has to be consistent. And so when he plays at that level, we're a different team, and he brings an energy. And, he brings a level of joy to our team constantly. So when he plays like that, we're different.
What was the message there, and how did you challenge him? How did you respond?
Rob's the kind of guy where he's got to realize he has a lot of gifts and he has a lot of abilities. And, it goes back to what you guys always talk about. Guys need to feel appreciated, need to feel empowered. And so, every conversation with Rob's about when he's at his best, we're a different team. And so just constantly reminding him of that.
I'm going to try not to think about Grant Williams when he's talking there. It was hard not to, but let's just focus on Rob.
Yeah.
You got to play Rob in order to have that happy joy feeling among the team. When Rob's playing like 19, 20 minutes, it's kind of hard to have the kind of joy when he plays 29.
So I'm going to side with Joe here. I think Rob played 19 minutes for a reason last game, and that's because his head wasn't there. He wasn't that guy. And I think the fact that Joe
Is his head ever there?
No, but
He
that's
always
the
looks
thing
like
is
he's like in the clouds, dude.
It's like, oh my God, Rob, if you just God, just do these two things. Only two things.
Do that
and you
again.
do it again. Well, you're awesome. Forget post-up moves. Forget all of that stuff. Just do these two things and you'll be great.
Yeah.
And
I would love
remember
to
that
see
you're
post-up
really
moves.
athletic. And every time you go out there, you have to remind him, It really is the level of mental management with Rob. And I don't think there's any malice there. I just think it's ultimately you're just trying to focus the guy to remember that you can be this unstoppable force. Can you just do that?
I just think that Rob is so he's so locked into knowing that I'm playing with Jason Tatum. I'm playing with Jaylen Brown. My mentor, Al Horford, is here. And sometimes I think he thinks that, he thinks he's a kid and that I'm just supposed to kind of fit in with the I'm glad that they're giving me a seat at the adult table, but I'm not really an adult yet.
Yeah.
And I think Joe was just like, no, you a grown ass man. Do you see it? Do you see what you
He
do?
doesn't know. He's Bruce Willis at the beginning of Unbreakable. He doesn't know, He doesn't know yet. He's like, I guess I never have been sick. And I can bench press 800 freaking pounds. That is weird, right?
That's pretty good, John. I like that one.
He doesn't realize it. He does this stuff. He does these superhuman things and he doesn't get it.
And I don't
Somebody
get
needs to
why.
tell
I don't
him.
understand how he doesn't get it, because his teammates tell him that, his coach tells him that. All of our damn questions are about Rob. you did this really amazing thing. Let's talk about that really amazing thing that only you could do. And it's like, well, I'm just trying to help the team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, right.
Appreciate it.
No, it's true. It's nuts.
But he was so good tonight, though. I mean, he was just so good. And
Keeping
even
plays
though his
alive.
even though his numbers look good, I mean, 13 and 15 with 2 blocks and 3 assists, there were so many other little things he did. I mean, there were times where, DeJounte would like look to attack and then he'd see Rob and he'd be like, oh shit, swing it back out. And times where, that floater that Trey loves to hit you with, Trey thought twice about taking that shot and he just pulled it back out. He prevented a number of shot attempts from being taken simply because he was on the floor. And this was, again, this was definitely one of Rob's best games as a Celtic. Even if the numbers, he's had better games with better numbers, but in terms of impact, big game moments, this was one of Rob's best.
Definitely. Yeah, I said it off the top of the show, like he just was so active out there, and like he's the reason that Jaylen Brown hit that dagger 3, right? He kept that play alive and they dished it to Jaylen in the corner.
Yeah.
So I mean, he did a lot of little things out there too, not just the rebounds. And I just thought that if they can get, I think I said this like after game 1, I might have to have a massive apology, Cam, if he has an awesome playoff series, because I was pretty down on Rob like all year, and I didn't really believe that he was just going to be able to turn it on. But like you said, game 3 was hopefully game 3 was an exception, and the Rob that we saw tonight and the Rob that we saw in the first couple of games is the one that they're going to get moving forward. Because if that's the case, they're going to be pretty damn hard to beat. Sean just said it earlier. They have 7 starters basically. There's nobody else, but they have 7 starters.
Yeah, I've used the Neo reference a lot last year because last year was the first year where he was beginning to believe, like you could see he started to get it and then the injury kind of set him back a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I guess the fear with Rob was the health, and there's a lot of people were like, Sherrod, you had that conversation with him and he was saving himself, but like, we weren't sure if we'd ever see it. I still honestly, I think people need to go back and watch the tape. I still think it's 90%. I think people are forgetting what he was doing. He is not doing all of it, but he's still doing so much. But I mean, last year he was blocking threes when he was standing under the basket. It was some really silly stuff. He was challenging a little bit more. He was a little bit more of a menace. He's picking his spots a tad more this year.
Yep.
And you picked up on that. And then it's just being smart about when to pick your spots. Don't jump out of the building on an up fake and waste all of your power ups, save it for a time where you really need that boost. And he's kind of got it now a little bit more, which I think that's the key is if you've only got like 20 good plays in you, or 20 bursts, make sure you're using them at the right time.
Right.
Yeah. And he got caught in the air a couple times tonight. But there were at least, for the 2 or 3 times he got caught, there were like 5 or 6, 7 times where he didn't, and Atlanta had to do something different. So he's getting better in that regard, and I think that's just part of growing. I mean, as a player in this league, understanding the mental part of the game, understanding what you cannot. It's for Rob. It's not about whether he has the ability to do anything. He can do anything from an ability standpoint. It's being smart about when you do it, and understanding that you don't have to waste all that damn energy. If you've got if Clint Capella, for example, is at top of the key, you don't have to run out and try to guard that. You just wait till he just tries to bring his little ass down in the block, and that's when you got to D him up.
Yeah,
but if let's say if Trey Young beats his man off the dribble, you can't just chill in the paint. You got to come out and try to contest that. And so he's getting better at figuring out how to discern between when to step out and contest and when to just kind of lay back and just let the plays come to him.
Agree with all of that. And we talk about the best version of ourselves, and Rob being the best version of himself does raise the ceiling overall in the Celtics. We want to tell you about one of our sponsors here at the Garden Report. That's BetterHelp. The Garden Report is sponsored by BetterHelp. And for those of you out there, you know what it's like to feel like the best version of yourself and the type of things that help you get there. When you are at your best, you can do great things. You get bogged down. Life gets you down. You get
busy, and we all have it. You got kids, jobs, blah, blah, blah. That's all of us. You can get overwhelmed and you just don't show up necessarily in the way that you want to. Working with a therapist can help you get closer to the best version of you, because when you feel empowered, you're more prepared to take on everything life throws at you. I know I have benefited from therapy in the past. I know several other people here on the show have, and many people who I have spoken to. I have friends who are therapists and talk about and preach, the power of therapy and how important it is for everybody to have somebody that they can talk to be able to kind of get some stuff off your chest and make sure you are, in fact, kind of operating at your full capacity. So if you are thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. Convenient, flexible, affordable, entirely online. Fill out a brief questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. All you have to do is go to BetterHelp.com/garden today to get 10% off your first month. BetterHelp.com/garden. Go there today, 10% off your first month. And I will tell you, for anybody out there who is considering any sort of therapy, it is really hard to find therapists these days. Anybody that you can visit and you can go to in person, it's tough. There's long waiting lists. You have to go out of network. It's very difficult. This is a really terrific option for anybody who'd been considering it but hasn't been able to pull the trigger for one reason or another. So once again, give it a shot if it's something you're interested in. BetterHelp.com/garden, 10% off today. Getting back to what we were talking about, guys, Rob being the difference maker. I mentioned this, Sherrod. I wanted your take on it. If you were to nitpick just a little, not nitpick necessarily, but and Jimmy brings this up all the time. It's, and we talked about it, 7 starters. Yes, the Celtics have depth because they have 7 starting caliber players. Interchangeable. It doesn't matter which 5-man lineup with any of those 7 that's in there. You're confident that they're better than the other 5 on the other end of the court. But the drop to 8 looks pretty significant right now. Hauser looks a little overwhelmed in the playoffs so far, and he was the guy who got first crack at it. We freaking saw Mike Muscala for a minute before you saw Grant Williams tonight, and he was like, "Okay, cool, I'm playing, I'll play," and then he stopped playing, and then Grant for like 25 seconds.
Yep.
That's it. You got about 11 and a half minutes of 8th man tonight, divided between 3 people, not necessarily equally. I'm not going to say it's a problem, but 7's not many. And you run into foul problems, somebody misses a game, you all of a sudden turn a strength into a weakness here. So you'd love to see someone kind of step up a little bit there. I did not think Joe was going to go back to Grant. I didn't. I thought it was strictly based on the foul trouble, and it turns out it was. However, I think he makes more sense in some cases, particularly his ability to switch on defense and do some of the things that you need to not have drop off everywhere. I know what Hauser gives you offensively, and he hasn't killed you on D. I am worried about him with some of these switches, giving up points in bunches and having runs. And I think Joe is as well, because it really wasn't that keen on going back to him. But there might be an 8th man. If you're going to nitpick, there might be an 8th man problem here.
I don't think there's any question there is, because there is no 8th man. That's the problem. I mean,
there's no problem.
When your 8th man is 8th man by committee, that's not good, because that means you literally don't have anyone that can fill that void. And to me, it's not going to necessarily cost you a series per se, but there may be a game or two where you lose, where you can't, if one of your top 6 guys, gets in early foul trouble, and you got to go a little deeper into the bench and bring in that 8th player. Who's that going to be? I personally feel that Grant Williams, by the time this all is said and done, will be the 8th man. I think Grant is going to find his way back into the good graces of Joe Mazzulla, and I don't know if he can do more than he did in the foul trouble stint that he got, in game 3. So it's a problem. And Sam, this is a bad, I think, team for Sam, because when Sam, they're so athletic on the wing positions that Sam's not going to get any clean looks. And I don't know if it's an official point of emphasis by the officials, but they're calling, offensive fouls and illegal screens and screens that aren't illegal. They're calling them illegal a lot in this series. And that's horrible for a guy like Sam, because he needs those type of screens to get free. So this is turning out to be a worse series for Sam than I thought it would be. But at this point, you're so close to finishing this thing off. I think you stick with what you got, and obviously, when you get to Philadelphia, you're going to need Grant. You're absolutely going to need Grant at some point. I think he will solidify himself as that eighth man. If you're able to get past Philly, I think Grant will stay in that role.
What are you laughing at?
Sherrod. I was laughing at that comment.
No Blorp?
He's got to be somewhere.
Where is Blorp?
They got no eighth man. They need to pray that they stay healthy.
Blorp comes out when I pull out my funky water bottle, so I got to go find it.
The old ketchup or mustard.
Yeah, when I pull out the ketchup bottles is what gets him to kind of
Yep.
rise from the ashes. Yep.
I don't know. I just think that a team like the Bucks, like they have depth in numbers. Maybe not so much, like you said. The Celtics are going to be more top heavy for sure. But a team like the Bucks, they can kill you, not kill you, but they can compete with you.
Just kind of wear you down a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
it is true though. Hauser's been an Atlanta killer. I just think the speed of the playoffs, the intensity, and just having people coming at you, and the switches, and Trae Young coming at like it's just. It's a faith in Hauser thing more than it is a Hauser thing. It's I think Joe's a little worried to leave him out there for too long.
As he should be. I mean, this is his first go around playing in the playoffs, and I talked to Sam about that before Game 3, and I didn't have to point it out. I just said, how do you approach playing on the road? And he was just like, basically. This is my first time go rodeo round. I'll let you know after Game 3. But he's got a lot to learn, and I think he'll get better. But the thing that, again, he's at his best when he's knocking down shots, and it's hard for that to happen now because again they're cracking down on screens. It's not as easy to set legal screens as it used to be.
What is going on here?
I don't know. Because there were at least 3 or 4 where they called it. And then you look, and there'll be something even more egregious that they don't call. And that's where the confusion for players and for those of us who are watching the game comes. How can you call that one, but you didn't call that one, which is worse than the one you called? So the officiating, it's just kind of a semi-hot mess of sorts right now on just too many levels to get into. But we're not. But Sam's got to be better though. In the minutes that he gets, otherwise you really need to go to Grant. But like I said from the beginning, I thought Grant wasn't going to play much in this series, and will play more in Philly. So it's kind of playing out that way.
I said it to start the postseason. My fear with Hauser would be he gets in, he's not able to get shots off, or he doesn't knock down his first couple, and he gives their mini run the other way, or gives up a couple of buckets, gets hunted a couple times, though I know it didn't work during the regular season. Best defensive rating in basketball. I don't want to hear it, and that Joe would lose faith quick because it's the playoffs. You can't mess around. So you really just can't just leave him out there and be like, whoa, that sucked, because you just can't give away games. So it's gotta be going right, or else he's going to lose those minutes fast. And that's where they're going to be. And I do think that eighth guy, if it's 12 minutes by committee, I just don't think there's that many minutes to go around. There's the 7 guys doing what they're doing, playing anywhere between 25 and 38 minutes. Yeah. And then there's 12 minutes left, 15 minutes left. That's all. That's what you're playing with.
Right. Honestly, if that's how it is, then that's how it is.
And that's how it is. That's a playoff rotation.
Right.
Right. But you got, of those guys that are going to be in that pool of 4 or 5 looking for that in minutes in that 8th spot, my safe money is on Grant, because he can play. He's had his struggles, he's had his ups and downs, but Grant can play. And when you've given him an opportunity in this series to play, he delivered. He totally came through for you. So I think, like I said, once they get to the Sixers series, I think Grant's going to play his way into regular rotation, if you will, as that 8th man, and get past them. And we're talking about Milwaukee, but there's no guarantee Milwaukee's going to be there. They got their hands full with Miami if Giannis is not able to go. Right. So, and if it's Miami, then Grant definitely is going to play.
Doesn't it all hinge on Rob though? If they're getting 30 minutes from Rob, then Grant's not. Those are minutes that's all you need. Going to go anywhere else.
I'm going back to that Mazzulla thing. It's so interesting for him for that to be a backhanded compliment the way that it was,
Yeah.
Let's listen to it one more time. And he's not taking a dig, but you can tell the struggle that they go through with Rob to get him there. This is just one more time on Mazzulla.
Rob tonight, how close does he look to that Rob you saw last year in a game like this, and the impact he had on the defensive class particularly?
Yeah, close. He just has to be consistent. And so when he plays at that level, we're a different team, and he brings an energy. And, he brings a level of joy to our team constantly. So when he plays like that, we're different.
What was the message there? How did you challenge him? How did you respond?
Rob's the kind of guy where he's got to realize he has a lot of gifts and he has a lot of abilities. And, it goes back to what you guys always talk about. Guys need to feel appreciated, need to feel empowered. And so, every conversation with Rob's about when he's at his best, we're a different team. And so just constantly reminding him of that.
Yeah. That's a definite dig. Constantly reminding him.
I gotta keep telling this guy. When you go out there,
good.
Well, we see it, how frustrating it is sometimes. We're like, why is he not doing more? And that's the frustration.
But we've always come in back and forth on the physicality aspect of it. And I know we talked about this a little earlier, but that's kind of it, right? At home, you look at it and it's easy to say, like, he's not jumping, he's not moving, he's not this. Right. But you wonder how much of it is him just like not sure, or not, it's really hard. He's a strange guy. It's like, it really is like, for those of you who have children, you watch them play like sports at the youth level and you're like, if I could just leap inside their brain right now, oh man, I could rip it, it's like, no, go there's the space. Why are you running that way? Like with Rob, sometimes you see it. I'm like, don't go for this fake. Nope, you went for the fake. Okay, well, stay put. There's a guy behind you, and it's like, oh, come on, Rob. Right. There's moments where you're like, does he see it? And then there's some moments where you're like, he sees everything. It is so straight, like everything. He's like 12 steps ahead. So it's a strange experience with him, and it has been forever. Because like at any moment in time, in just our discussion and analysis of him, we've talked about him making a leap into all-star consideration, defensive player of the year, and part of a big three, or this guy's cooked and he's never going to get it. We might have that conversation like one day apart. It's crazy that we're still having it.
Yeah, but again, because of the tremendous potential, you ride it out. If you're Joe Mazzulla, if getting him closer to being his best version of himself means telling him over and over and over and over again how good he is and how much better the team is when he's playing close to that potential, you're going to have that conversation every day. And you're hoping that at some point that it'll fully sink in and he'll embrace the fact that he's a pretty damn good player when he wants to be a pretty damn good player. And I think what we saw tonight, this is the kind of game that he needs to be able to bottle up and keep it going. Guys were getting him the ball on plays other than lobs, and his defense was strong. He needs to have that balance going forward.
1,000%, I agree. It's interesting to see Joe be so candid with that answer, because
I gotta remind him.
Yeah,
like
it must be frustrating as hell for him, because he sees more than anybody what Rob's capable of, right? And
he's seen it for a while, being an assistant coach. So.
But you know what's interesting with Rob? He acts and talks, and the way he carries himself is way more mature, like leader-like. He has a presence about him, and the way he talks to people, and he really is dialed in. I don't know what it is. Just sometimes he's in and out on the games. Someone put up a comment here. I actually think it's really prescient here and really smart. He load manages himself. I think he's kind of, as we said, he's picking and choosing spots, and he's load managing himself, which is just a strange thing. And it goes back to what we said at the beginning of the year and even last year. Conditioning is and has always been a thing with him. He threw his offseason away. Not threw away. His offseason was taken from him by the surgery, so he couldn't really ramp up. But he's still one offseason away from getting in the best shape of his life, from being in a position where he doesn't have to load manage himself, because he knows he'll have the wind to be able to go back and forth and keep going and do all of this stuff. And it's not always there. This is Rob talk. Here's Rob on Rob.
Yeah, he has a kind of even level of building you up and tearing you down at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So even though he encourages me, you know,
Talking about Joe.
even in the middle of the game. Bless you, he challenges me all the time. You know, I thought
That was Rob on Joe.
That was Rob. It seems like talking about how Joe builds him up and kind of even levels of building him up and taking him down.
I can understand why Rob load manages himself now, because when you think about his start here, did not get off the greatest to start with the missed flight and the practice and all that, and the injuries where it seemed that he'd get injured, he'd come back, and then he'd get injured again and come back. And I think at some point he just said, you know, I need to be the captain of my recovery. I need to take a more active, engaged role in my return to the court. And I know they want me to play at this, like, you know, level 9, but I can be impactful at level 6, and then I can slowly ramp up to 7 and then 8. And I think that's what we're seeing with Rob. I think that was whoever made that comment, that was a great assessment of where Rob's at. I think he is load managing his way up to being, you know, the Brad Stevens line, the best version of yourself. And that, if you're the Celtics, that's the greatest pathway you're going to have to winning a championship, is if Rob just gradually gets a little bit better and better and better as the postseason goes along.
Mm-hmm. We just take.
Because he was damn good tonight.
You know what movie that's from?
Superbad.
Huh?
Right? Superbad?
I think it's Jonah Hill, but I think it's from This Is the End.
Oh, okay. You're probably right. Yeah, we just
Picking on Rob. Damn it.
We just tight. He's trying to make friends with Jay Baruchel.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah,
Maybe it was a stolen line from Superbad too, but it's definitely in that one. Yeah. Anyway,
Rob,
Part-Time Lord. Yeah.
Part-Time Lord.
Yeah, we saw. I know somebody here putting the DeJounte Murray. We talked about that. We did know that.
What, the push?
We knew it. We saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, we should post. Can we put that clip up?
I don't want to get copyrighted by putting up the video.
What do you mean? It's some fan recorded it. It's
well, that guy's gonna sue you, Jimmy. Yeah.
Well, we'll give him credit. We'll toss his Instagram handle up there.
I'm told Bobby Manny's going to show up and talk for 30 seconds.
Or is he still asking questions to Joe Mazzulla?
The show going. Yeah.
Still bothering Joe? Is Joe Sway there?
Yes.
Good to see his face, too.
You have the sickest references, Jay. Everybody says so.
Your references are
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I remember that now.
We've been really good at not talking about Philadelphia. I've been impressed, John.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm so tempted to just look past Game 5, but we shouldn't, though.
No, I mean, we did a little in the sense of, like, you know, just getting to Saturday being important here. But again, a couple important things have happened. There's just looking big picture, because again, what's Atlanta? Atlanta's a team you expect to beat. You get annoyed if you don't. Wrap it up in 5 games. I think any longer than that would have been considered, you know, to be not a failure, but a letdown. Yeah. You know, like, come on, take care of business. But they're playing well, and hats off to Atlanta. You know, I think, you know, we said, the Celtics said they took their best punch in Game 3. They took another good punch today. Yeah. So good, you know, good on them for pulling this one out. I didn't think the Celtics played that bad in Game 3 either, honestly. So, Atlanta, did what expected Atlanta to do. One, it's boring to jump that far ahead, but 2, I think you're just looking at this almost like as kind of like getting yourself right. What team are the Celtics? You know, they talk about like learning from last year and feeling differently and how they're going to approach and attack things. And then you're also, so one is the mentality and the mindset. Are they going to be playing the style of game you want them to play, committing to defense, the ball movement style offense, taking care of the basketball? When you've seen, in spurts, both of those things happen, you'd like to see the defense clamp down a little bit more. But the other is like, what are we seeing from the players? You're seeing Rob. That has to make you feel good. The version of Rob you're seeing now. The version of Smart, that has to make you feel good. The version of Smart you're seeing right now. Brogdon and White continue to be Brogdon and White, really just rock steady all the time. And then there was just a little Jaylen Brown issue of like, is this bugging him? And today makes you feel better about that because, he ditches that, gets it out of his head a little bit, and looked like himself again, just being able to just attack the basket, go. And he's totally different things. So if that's something that's in the past too, and he's over that, you really have to just kind of generally feel good about the overall direction of where they're going. Relatively healthy. And if the only thing you're nitpicking here is like eighth man situation, I don't think that's
that says a lot how
those
good things are.
Those are champagne problems, when that's your
Right.
biggest problem.
Right. Yeah, that says a lot about how good things are for you when literally one of the biggest issues is who's going to be your eighth man, a position that you're in best case scenario, you're talking, 10, 15 minutes a game? If that. So
your biggest problem is deciding whether to play your future $20 million man in round 2.
That's yeah. I love Grant, but man, hey, it's a Bobby.
Oh my God,
man,
he's drinking on the air.
He's alive.
He's chugging.
He's alive. What's up, Bobby?
Shotgun action? Can we hear him?
What is he not?
Can't hear him.
Can't hear.
Is he muted?
Does he know that he's on?
Does he know that we
screen?
can't hear him?
Earth to Bobby.
I don't know. While Bobby's blinking,
Bobby stares off into the abyss.
We're gonna play some sound from Marcus Smart here.
He didn't even, when he took off the mask, it was hard to recognize him. You hadn't seen that in so long in a game.
Yeah, it's been a minute since we've seen JB without his mask on the court playing, so it was a good. So he took his mask off and he turned into a different player. He turned into Juice with the mask off.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Jalen Brown's here, everybody.
Who's the guy in red? Is that Mini Greg Bedard?
He's with the Hawks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, he's in the Hawks. That looked like Mini Greg Bedard.
Wow. I didn't. Yeah, he does.
See it
Yeah.
I missed.
We lose
Blort.
Bobby.
Yeah, let's see if Bobby can jump in here.
Bobby, do you see us?
Bobby.
This guy.
Can you see
I'll
us?
tell you what. This guy.
Bobby.
We can't hear you. No audio.
No audio.
I don't even think
Blurry
he sees
video.
us.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Bobby.
Damn
Angel
it,
Reese,
Bobby.
Caitlin Clark. Don't do it.
Damn it, Bobby.
Yeah. You can't see me, Bobby.
You can't do that.
No, you can't
Damn it.
do that.
Where's Josue?
I don't know.
You tell us. You guys are the ones down there.
I'm here, dude.
Yeah, Sherrod, you're the GOAT. You always make it on. These guys.
If Sherrod wants to
young
talk to
Bucks,
these guys,
man, these young
Sherrod
Bucks
wants to
don't know
talk
what
to these
they're
guys,
up
he'll pick up the freaking phone. That's how that works.
Exactly.
I want to hear what the hell they were hearing in the locker room.
All right, let's go.
Let's try.
Last time.
Try number 3
Bobby,
here.
give me a thumbs up if you can hear us.
That's not good.
Yes.
Oh, he's on a delay.
Very
This should be-
delayed.
This should be interesting.
Okay, go. Bobby.
I can't do this tonight, guys. I really can't do it tonight.
Oh boy.
I need my, Sunday night. You want to be kind
Damn, that's right,
down.
Jimmy. It's a Sunday.
I
Jimmy
gotta
Sherrod.
watch
Coming
Succession.
down.
I gotta
Bobby's gonna
watch
get my blood
Barry.
boiling here.
I gotta get going, guys. Okay, I've got some stuff to do.
I heard Succession this season's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
I should fire it up.
Yeah, you should.
I
got
have
a
no
lot.
TV shows.
I got a lot. You should watch Beef too.
Beef? I never heard of it.
Beef. What is
on
that?
Netflix. On Netflix, it's pretty
What's it
interesting.
What's it about? Beef?
It's about a road rage incident and how and then two people's lives become entangled. But it's really about like rage. It's really
like
well done.
Boomer
Though.
Rage?
No. Next tier down. What's before Boom? What are you?
Millennial rage.
There's really just boomers and millennials, right? You're under 35. You're under 40. You're a millennial. You're over 40.
Yeah.
You're a boomer. That's it, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
2 categories of
I'm a
people.
millennial.
And then there's
Sucks,
olds.
There we go.
Yes.
Hey! There he is.
Hey.
All right,
He's
Bobby.
glowing.
Browser
He's
issues.
Bobby, in
glowing.
30 seconds, tell us everything you want to talk about.
Oh, there's a ton in this game. Love
All right,
Brown
thank you,
down the
Bobby.
Okay, good night,
stretch.
Bobby.
Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks for coming out. Good night.
See
I
you
don't.
guys.
So where do you want to go? Because you guys have probably hit on a bunch of stuff. I'll go.
It
in
doesn't
any direction
matter.
You want me to
We
go.
want you to go.
I'm talking
where
about
you wanna
TV
go.
shows now, Bobby.
Anything
So
but
let
Lemon
me throw
Square,
this
we're
out
good.
there.
You go.
Despite 5 fouls, I thought this was Rob's best game I've maybe ever seen from him. Incredible, rising to the occasion, the minutes he logged, defensively being involved and playing off the ball the way they used him last year, and maybe he wasn't throwing down monstrous alley-oops, but he did sustain for the game despite some tough calls on the offensive fouls throughout this game, despite some hesitation earlier in the series, some games with less minutes. He comes out tonight and plays super aggressive, comes back off a 5th foul with 11 minutes to go in the 4th, and hits 2 baskets off of Brown that keyed this win, along with a outstretched dive for a ball where the game was kind of in hand, but still you slammed the door shut there with the Brown 3 right after, and I think he might have assisted on that play too. Just tremendous. You saw Joe fired up after, getting in his face, kind of reminding him that this is what we always need from him. And that's exactly what Joe said. It's about consistency. I wonder how much of Rob's 19 minutes in Game 3 was Joe not quite trusting him, because we always go with the physical, right? Oh, maybe they're holding him back. Maybe they're trying to save him. Maybe he's not feeling great. I think at the end of the day, a lot of these minute decisions get made on their trust in him, and they haven't seen him playing at this level enough. And if this sustains, it's going to be hard to imagine another team beating them, because this was absolute dominance from him here tonight.
Yeah, Bobby, we played that soundbite in the question you asked, and that was kind of where we went with it. It was like interesting for Joe to kind of so candidly say, yeah, sometimes I got to keep telling him that he's good. And then, it clearly sounded from Joe's comments tonight that it was in response to, what'd you see different from Game 3? Was like he kind of did what he's supposed to do, and in Game 3 he didn't. So again, I do think the minutes were. I don't think we ever thought he was physically hurt in Game 3. I think the minutes were reduced because he just wasn't impacting the game at all. He did nothing with his 19 minutes.
Looking back on it too, I don't know about that decision, given that they lost key rebounds down the stretch. With
they did, but he wasn't doing what they wanted him to do. And
the third quarter fouls killed him that game. Yeah.
Because you are sacrificing something with Rob on the court. You have some issues, obviously, because he's not going to shoot. And, there's different things there that you're not. So he has to be performing all of his tasks to his highest capability. If not, he's just occupying space.
Yeah. At some point, though, you need him to maintain a consistent role. And there was room for double big in that game. They didn't go to it. They go to it tonight, and it was tremendous. I love when Al and Rob are passing to each other. I love when Al gets the opportunities to play make, and it looks like he loves looking for Rob. And Brown deserves a ton of credit for looking for him, too, because so much what we said coming into the playoffs was as much as Rob needs to play better and step up and be consistent, they also need to find him more often, and they did that in this game. Smart look for him. Brown down the stretch hit him numerous times, and Al on that great alley-oop early on got him fired up. And I almost saw Rob flexing on that play. I don't know if you guys got the other angle because we were behind him. Looked like he celebrated just a little bit.
Where Al got his face on right after that play. I think Al, yeah. That was a good play.
He was fired up all game. He was fired up.
Yeah, he had one play where he ran over like the corner and looked at the crowd. You want to see that stuff from him because
that was the end one. He missed
player.
a free throw, but when he got it, and the end one there.
Yeah, he's a dominant player, so he should kind of have that dominant persona on the court. Like, I'm going to dunk on guys. I'm going to, go antagonize the crowd a little bit here. I'm going to flex after my dunk. You want to see that from him. We know he's not KG, but he's got some KG tendencies to his game that you want to see him fired up and getting this team going. I loved Al playing that role tonight because we know Al will do that. He did in Game 1 and Game 2 at the Garden, and he was in Brown's face at the end of the game, firing him up, and this just looked like a locked-in group tonight. We lost Game 3, terrible game. We're shutting this down. And the Hawks drew within 4 or 5 numerous times in the second half, and every time the Celtics scored.
Yeah.
Bobby, I thought it was a really good Rob game, too. I don't know if it was his best game, but we pretty much started with Rob almost off the top of the show, Rob and Jaylen Brown. Just like how active he was out there, extending plays, just getting – guys were getting him involved. Jaylen Brown had a couple nice passes to him down low. They've made what's his name, Collins, like non-existent this series basically. So
he's the worst player in the series.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's a killer for them. Hunter got going tonight, slowed down big time in the second half. Bay isn't giving them what he gave those Pistons teams against the Celtics his rookie year. They don't have enough right now in terms of depth, and the Celtics keep finding contributors. I thought Brogdon was excellent in the fourth quarter. Brown, of course, I thought one of his finer nights offensively in terms of control once he threw the mask off. I still don't know why he did it. He thought maybe it was in his head and something just made him throw it off. But the underrated thing, too, I thought, was that he threw the guard off his right hand. And that might have actually been what, like, everyone's going to write and talk about the mask tonight. But I think taking the thing off his hand, he said I had to decide between lessening pain on catching the ball, which is what the guard was for, and getting feel on the ball. And he looked in control again after.
It's so much. I'm going to say it was, look, what are we forgetting? The mask was his splits with the mask at the end of the regular season were insane. When he put the mask on, he was on fire. So it's not the mask, it's the hand, guys. He doesn't have feel for the ball. He hasn't been able to dribble into traffic, attack the basket, cross guys over, do the types of things. You saw him try to do it a couple times early, and it was freaking hideous. It was just falling out of his hand. He couldn't do it. He hasn't been able to do it since the beginning of the series with regularity. He'll have one or two that he will keep it together, but for the most part, it's in his head, and he knows he just doesn't have the feel for it, so he can't aggressively, confidently attack. Soon as that thing comes off, he just started going beeline to the basket again and playing through contact and doing all of these things that he was doing basically all year, but certainly like in the last 15, 20 games when he was their best player. So it's entirely that, and I'm glad that he did it. But then he friggin' split it open again on that friggin' monster dunk. So I mean,
did he split it open?
It was bleeding down his elbow. It burst. Burst is the words I got out of the locker room.
Jimmy,
I didn't see that.
It completely blew up.
Yeah, when it took the 30-second medical time.
I take it back. It's possible he cut another part of his hand on the dunk. It's totally possible. But he was bleeding, and you could see it. They were kind of wiping
the right hand.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, he might have to go right back to that protection if it's burst open again. And
nah, keep doing what he's doing. Plus, yeah, let's wrap it up here Tuesday, and then get 4 or 5 days off. Super glue that shit. Get rid of the wrap, and then you're done. But it made a huge difference. I think it was all the hand. It's been the hand the whole time.
Absolutely.
It's changed his mentality. And the whole way he plays.
It was always the hand.
It was always the hand.
I still go back to that game 3 play. Fourth quarter, down 3, he gets the steal and runs out. And I think a healthy Brown finishes that through contact and wins the game maybe on an and one, or at least pulls them within one there. So he had to dump it off numerous times in that fourth quarter. If you go back and look, a lot of those passes because he lost control, driving in transition. And the turnovers went way up in this series because of the hand there. So it's going to be interesting to follow. Again, everyone looked at it coming into this series and was like, can he play? It was less about can he play and more can he play effectively, and he hasn't been at his best in this series because that dribble with the right hand so limited.
Yeah. People are saying he was bleeding on the elbow. We all saw the same thing. They were wiping his arm and his elbow, but you couldn't tell if it was dripping down from his hand. That's what I was saying. I don't know where it was, but they were wiping here, but it looked like it was coming down from his hand.
I wish I saw that. Sure. I would have asked them about it,
but I'm not sure.
Do you think they have to amputate?
Yeah. They're very...
It might be better if they remove it, John.
The whole thing. Clean tear, clean break.
Once you remove it, you can't injure it anymore.
Yeah. No, it could have been, like I said, it could have been something else. I don't know what it was.
He's just so great. This is what I talked about coming into the playoffs. He sets a tone for them and I don't want to make this like a Tatum Brown thing, but there's just sort of a forcefulness, aggressiveness, and a will to Brown's game that this team needs to follow more often than not. And a lot of times it is Brown just going downhill, and some people like this, some people don't. I'm going to get this done. Here we go. Who's jumping on the ship with me? And it might lead to some turnovers, it might lead to some sloppy plays, but when your hand's bleeding and you have 31 on efficient shooting after an awful start, that's what wins this game tonight. And Tatum, I thought, he got that heave off late in the shot clock, but another bad shooting night from 3, another inconsistent night from the field. I kept saying he's got to close this, and it ended up being Brown who closed it. And Tatum's got to play. Tatum's got to play so much better than he's playing right now.
If this game went in the other direction, and you don't get what you got out of Brown, this would have been the Tatum's got to do more game. Because last game. He wasn't bad, but when you needed a bucket, he couldn't get it for you late. He didn't rise above.
He settled a ton.
He'd do the superstar thing. He didn't do that last game. And if Atlanta chipped into it and Jalen wasn't going off late, you would have been looking to Tatum to kind of like, so are you going to do this or not? And it didn't necessarily happen. Here's Brown talking about kind of what changed in his mind after he did his whole situation here.
I don't know. Maybe it was all in my head. I just needed something different. When I took it off, it just gave me the edge I needed. It was no future references that I heard, but I'll take the win. It didn't matter if I scored 25 or I scored 2, as long as I just helped my team to be in a position to win. That's what I'm trying to focus on. But I definitely need to continue to be more aggressive because I feel like our team is different when I got the ball and I'm being aggressive.
I totally agree. You almost wish, John, they followed his lead sometimes. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, like, he's just sort of out there doing it on his own.
Oh, shit. Cinco box.
Josue sighting.
Hey, 1 hour and 20 minutes in, Josue.
Thanks for joining us.
Final thoughts?
Hey, I had to ask Jason Tatum an important question. Of course, someone else.
Okay, thanks, Josue.
But I asked him another one. Well, the first one had to do with the flagrant that Trae Young picked up, and he said he wasn't mad at the way he got up. It did look that way, but he just said, "Look, it's something that he was just trying to get to the free throw line," and he joked that he was trying to scare him a little bit. So that was good. I did get my question in though, a second one that I had to ask him, and that was just his overall, going into this game and after that flagrant 2, just how he sort of just flipped that switch and him getting to the free throw line. What do you get, 2 attempts in games 1 and 2? What are you doing differently out here in Atlanta that got you to the free throw line? He was like, nothing. I just been thankful that they've noticed, and I'm just gonna keep it at that. One of those, I'm not gonna get fined. I'm just gonna say, look, I'm playing the way I've been playing. Nothing's been changed. Nothing's changed in my approach. So hopefully things will continue to go Jason Tatum's way in Game 4 or Game 5 rather in Boston.
Did you ask him about shoes though?
No, I didn't ask him about that.
Because those are questions that matter.
No, get that comment out of here, John Zannis pie.
I didn't put it up there. It's freaking Smiley McGee with the freaking
That's
heart
your
out
burner. Get it out of here, John. That's definitely your burner now.
Dude, I don't have burners. I just say it. You think I got a problem?
No, I think he's just a fan. I think that guy's been around for a while. I guess.
That's Jimmy trolling right there. Guys, I got too many things to do here. I'll be operating a burner in the chat too. Okay.
Yeah, that's
way too many things going on.
That's true.
I'm playing sound. I'm running the friggin' graphics. I don't have time to go.
That would be that'd be impressive. That'd be
a lot. There's no way I'd do that without outing myself. Like
yeah, you slip up somehow.
There's no way.
The way Durant did, the way he slipped up, right? Something
exactly.
like that.
Dirk.
I mean, yeah, Tatum's an interesting side note from this game. And like you said, John, he would have been the story if they lose this one. I think he finishes 8 of 20, so pretty much the same shooting splits as last game when he said he let
6
them
of
down.
18 makes that heave 3 and then the gimme dunk at the end. That was his shooting.
And the
night.
defense,
he was 6 of 18, and then he made his last 2 shots.
He found pockets to contribute tonight on off shooting night, which is what you're looking for. The rebounding, of course, as a team.
To his defense.
And the 3 blocks.
Yeah. One thing I'll say in his defense on the shooting, he ended up with the ball in his hands on a desperate clock, at least 3 times where he had no choice, where they didn't really run anything on offense.
And that one he made was a big shot.
Yeah, here, take it and shoot. So, there were a couple, but it was the passivity again and not really playing within the flow. He was just kind of there at times and not taking charge, which I don't mind. Which I don't mind when the offense is going well. It's okay to sometimes take a back seat there, but when you need the buckets, you need your stars to get the buckets. He didn't get them last game, and it was Brown tonight. Josue, what else you got before we wrap it?
Everyone making a lot of everyone's up. It's great to see what Jalen did after he took that mask off, right? So everyone had their jokes, including Marcus Smart and Tatum, and Tatum said that he turned to Marcus and he said when he saw Jalen out there with no mask on, getting ready to go, he was just like, "Oh, it's go time!" Like it was no question in his mind what was about to happen, and Jalen performed at a high level for sure. But another key takeaway, Bobby, I don't know, you probably mentioned this too, was just what Rob Williams had to do. What Rob Williams had to say about those final 3, 4, 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. Because remember, guys, we were talking about it in the group chat. I know John was kind of flipping out. John, which by the way, were you flipping out because he had 5 fouls? You didn't want him still out there?
I thought it was risky because he was playing so well. I was afraid leaving him out there.
Or you meant like to hurt the team?
No, I thought when Joe left him out there with 4 and then he got his 5th early in the 4th, I thought that screwed him because the next time he would have come in, he'd have to be passive. He couldn't challenge. He couldn't be his aggressive self. So right. I thought you kind of neutered that asset for the rest of the night by allowing him to pick up that 5th foul early. I felt that the next time he came into the game and they brought him in to close, he should have come back in with 4 fouls, not 5. I don't know why you left him out there to catch a 5th. So I thought that was risky because I wanted him, like you said, to be able to be aggressive when he did re-enter the game without having to worry that the next one and I'm gone. And I thought he got one and they gave it to Tatum.
Yeah, remember he was fighting for the rebound?
And he was like, "Oh, F," and he swore he thought it was on him. And that was like a minute into his with 5, that was a minute into his re-entry.
Yeah, that was one time. And then I think even later he was fighting for an offensive rebound and really getting close on Okongwu.
Yeah. No, that was one where they went up for a contest on an offensive board, and Tatum ended up getting the foul. That was the one I was talking about. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. There was another one.
Because I want this to happen more often, right? I'm sure you do too, John. Right? Seeing Rob finish games and coming off the bench, giving you that spark, but then again, finishing games to lock down defensively, and this is what happens, right? You saw the way this team is when he's playing at a high level on the defensive end of the floor. So leave him out there. It's funny. I did a radio spot heading into the postseason, and they asked me right at the end of the interview, like, give us your 5 your 5 that you want to see finishing the games in the playoffs right now. And that was the lineup I said. And they're like, wow, no Marcus. What about the starting line? I'm like, well, no, because I think if Derek's got it going, which he did today, right? This is a great example of that, right? And you want that muscle on the defensive end of the floor. You want Al out there as well because he's giving you, something on both ends. And then you want Rob in the middle. So I think right now, just the way this team's built, this is obviously before the Marcus Smart, after Marcus hurt his back. This is before that, but it still stands. I would love to see this happen more often throughout the postseason. And to get back to my point originally, what stood out to me the most about his quotes from tonight's game was the fact that he said Joe Mazzulla trusted me in that spot. He informed him that obviously 1, don't pick up a 6th foul, but 2, you're gonna finish this game. And that was my question for Rob. Did you know you were going to finish the game, or was it just like a type of let's just see what happens type of thing? He goes, no, I knew I was going to finish the game. Mazzulla trusted me, and I appreciate that. But also, my teammates trusting me as well plays a factor because they make sure I don't pick up that 6th foul, and that was certainly the case.
Yeah, it's interesting, right, guys? The Rob closing the game is just something you don't see. You weren't even seeing it. You just don't see it, and. So much of it is a trust thing.
And that's why I felt funny saying that. I'm like, look, I know we don't see this often, but right now, the way this team is going into the playoffs, I would love to see that because it would boost his confidence, 1. And 2, you would start to think, well, this could be the norm. He's going to be comfortable in that spot in the postseason.
Yeah, it's like there are some games where things happen late with the closing lineup that you wonder if you did have faith to have Rob out there, whether it would, because you are giving away some of the things that he brings that can kind of keep you alive. Offense stagnates a little bit, and you're not able to get what you get, and then you've got him in the offensive glass, getting tap outs, keeping balls alive, giving you second possessions. That could change the entire complexion of some of these games where things didn't necessarily go their way. You just didn't see it much this year. So it's interesting, and double big's back a little bit, and you think you're going to see a little bit more of it in future rounds as well. Certainly if you end up with Milwaukee, in the conference finals and again against the Sixers. So there's a lot, there's a lot to go, but we got. The schedule is out just to put up, to wrap this one up here. If they win on Tuesday, Game 5 at the Garden, Game 1 against Philly is going to be on Saturday. If the series goes 6 or 7 with Atlanta, Game 1 is going to be on Monday. So we are back Tuesday, and then we hope potentially a little bit of a break here before that next game against Philadelphia on Saturday, but we will see. All of these guys are heading back from Atlanta, heading to Boston. Game 5 is Tuesday, so we'll be back with a post-game show.
Nice.
Guys, I'll be making an appearance at the Garden on Tuesday.
What?
Yep.
Yeah. Everyone's going but me.
I may come back for a post-game, Jimmy. I'm going early for something. So yeah, but I'll be there too. So we'll group photos, do little selfies, little lessons.
I'm gonna have to go too.
Yep. What's up, guys? Hey!
Shout out to the Celtics fans that showed
Where's
out.
something nice, John? We'll get you.
When are we gonna do a live show outside the Garden? That's what I keep asking for.
I literally don't even have pants that fasten anymore, Bobby. I've been wearing sweatpants since COVID.
Hey, that doesn't matter. You just need a shirt.
I don't leave the house.
3 whole years.
3 years, man. Actually, no. I have to wear a pair of pants when I go teach. That's about it. So I have one.
Yeah,
I have my
that.
teaching pants. Yeah,
just one pair. It's the same pair.
One pair of teaching pants.
Man.
But we are gonna wrap it. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on this.
Oh wait, what do you guys think about Murray? Is he gonna get suspended or what?
Nah.
No, they'll look the other way. Which
I think he might.
Might what?
Really?
He should, based upon the letter of the law, but I don't think they will. I think they'll fine him.
I don't think they're scared of that. They've
Wasn't that the
suspended
end
a
of the
lot of
year?
guys
It
this
was Thomas
postseason. They've handed out a lot of penalties this postseason. I don't think they're going to be
Yeah.
concerned about that. But I am interested to see what everyone said about that on the Atlanta side postgame. So my suspicion is that they're going to take a really long look at that and potentially make that move. Of course, we saw it with Grant earlier this year. Doesn't really need to be all that aggressive or flagrant to earn a suspension.
It was
though. The
worse than
playoffs are
Grant's.
different.
It was worse than Grant's.
What the hell is he so mad about? Just
Who knows?
overall officiating.
Yeah. But it was
I
worse
wonder-
than Grant's, and Grant got a game. So
I wonder if he spoke after the game. Anyway, of course, we'll have more on that if
If
it
only
happens
we had
tomorrow.
somebody there that could found out.
Yeah.
If he did.
Yeah, not seeing any quotes from him. So
If only one of the 5 people we have in Atlanta could have.
I'm here, fellas.
Where the F
I'm
is
with
Amit?
you.
Amit should have been in that Hawks locker room, like, ruffling some feathers,
Make news, break news, guys. All right,
it.
we're out, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out. Sherrod in Atlanta with Bobby and Josue. Make sure these guys get home safe, Sherrod.
Yeah. Sure, I make sure that they go home after
The
this.
babysitter is off duty, fellas. The babysitter is off duty.
Does that mean the babysitter's going out with them, or does that mean
the babysitter doesn't do that.
No.
Josue and Bobby, they know that. I let them run.
Just you know what though, I don't care what happens to you guys. I need Amit. Okay.
Them lemon pepper wings.
Well, at least Sherrod kept it 100 at one
I
point.
could get 100 Bobbies. No, I'm just kidding. We need all of you.
I think Sherrod kept it 100 at one point when he said that one phone call you get if you were to hypothetically. I don't know if you can use it on me, man.
Yeah, you have not elevated to bail status. You're not there yet, Josue.
Yeah.
So you might have to stay till Monday.
You're gonna have to stay till Monday. Yeah. When your arraignment is on Monday. Yeah. I'm not bailing your ass out this weekend.
Man.
Yeah.
Same thing with you, Bobby.
And I'll do the shameless plug. Yes, please leave a like on this video if you liked it. You guys hung out for 90 minutes. You must have liked
Hit that
something,
like
right?
button. Smash that subscribe button.
Moreover, subscribe and tell other people about it. In the playoffs here, we like the big crowds. We like to bring in new people, give people a taste of it. Anybody you think out there is a Celtics fan who might have some fun hanging out and listening to these shows and hanging out with us after the games.
Hey, John,
We're now
by the way,
3 years, right? How many years now? This is insane. We have not taken a day off since when?
3 years.
The bubble.
John,
Yeah.
by the way, before we get out of here, we need everybody to wish a happy birthday to Lauren Williams.
Oh
Great
yeah, happy
Hawks
birthday,
reporter
Lauren.
here.
Hey, girl, happy birthday.
She's like, thank God the series is almost over. No,
We can't see you, but you can see us. So
Happy
yeah,
birthday.
Shout out to her. She came on the show before the series. I come on after. So
Very
Nice.
cool.
There you go, Bobby. All right.
Very cool. Okay. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Yeah.
All right. We will see you guys on Tuesday, Game 5. Thank you guys again for hanging out.